Welcome to the June 2011 Tawa Donner Finance Report. It's Mike Salmon here. Thank you for viewing. The month of June was an off month in revenues due to the delay in the opening of the golf course primarily. The lodge was also impacted. So revenues this year were 505,000 versus last year, and of 693, and prior year of 624, and expenses were down as well due to the delay, and so net operating results were slightly worse than budget, and we'll get into those details in a minute. On the revenue side, a lot on this page. Again, revenues of 505 were 188,000 or 27% off of budget, 119,000 or 19% worse than last year. And the very key variances in our summer months for the month of June in our summer operations are presented here. As you can see, the chunky one is 97,000 negative variance in golf due to a course opening on the 17th. It did open last year on June 4th. We didn't budget that, of course. We budget approximately May 20th opening the week before Memorial Day weekend. It's typically when we try and open in normal weather conditions. Pizza is the one notable area of green here to budget. Continue to see good volume at Pizza on the Hill restaurant. In expenses, we missed on a grant. In revenues, we didn't do the work, so we didn't recognize the revenue, nor did we have the expense for the work. That's timing. We'll make that up later in the month. When there's payroll savings across the company due to the delays and other factors, we also have burden savings, payroll burden, payroll taxes, workers' comp, health insurance. So to recap, June, 188,000 off in revenue, 147 favorable in expenses, nets to 41,000 or 8% off of budget, and 50 grand or 10% off of last year. Season to date, the summer season started in May. It runs May through October, and we're 2 months in. This is my best graphic for a sun I could find. I'll work on that next month, but 2 months in, obviously we're down in revenues due to the golf course and delayed opening of the golf course primarily. Banquets is also not performing to budget expectations at the lodge. Expenses are running under budget and on budget for the 2 months, and just slightly worse than last year for the 2 months. Year to date, revenues are on budget and just slightly under last year, and just slightly below budget. And expenses are slightly below budget and a little bit more over last year. And so we're running, actually, this budget, or this actual figure year to date is about 222,000 off of last year actual, and is spot on to budget. So we're running year to date 6 months, 6 months through the year, we are running on budget in net operating results, but we are off to last year due to a number of factors. One of those big factors was all the snow this winter. Last year we generated, we had a lot more costs this year to handle the snow removal in January through April and into May, actually, as far as snow removal, and then we had rains impacting revenues. So this is just a recap of the absolute numbers in variance for the year-to-date figures that I just covered. The variance to last year breaks down. You can see all the details in Finance Report D4 505 every month, and then the components, NOR components by component variance: 1.5% negative in revenue, 1.5 in cost of goods, 3.5 in payroll, 1.4 in burden, and 1.3 in expense. These don't add up to 12 because revenue, 1.5% of revenue is a much larger absolute dollar amount than 1.5% of cost of goods sold. So these are not weighted percentages, but for each component it gives you the percent variance. This is a handy report in D2, first page of D2 in the finance report every month. Just gives you our variances by month for the company as a whole and the operating fund, and then the year to date here. This chart is presents the variances in NOR to budget. Both this side of the graph is negative variances and this side of the graph is favorable variances by department. Administration is over by a little over 50 grand, negative due to the incentive accrual for the summer. Again, summer to date is on budget, including that incentive accrual, which may or may not reverse in excess of budget due to performance this summer. And ComDep is performing well, particularly ad revenues are strong and their costs are down. Forestry is, while they didn't get the grant revenue, which would have driven the bar here, forestry also did not incur the grant expense or non-grant expenditures just related to general forestry work were delayed due to all the snow and weather we had in the spring, so that this will swing closer back to budget as we go through the summer. Tennis was impacted due to weather, delayed, rains. Cross country, you don't hear a lot about powder skiing at cross country. You hear about it at downhill, and so they were negatively impacted by the weather and had increased costs as well as negative revenue impact to budget. The golf course, as we know, was delayed opening, so we're right at 100 grand net there, but it's offset by quite a bit of savings in the golf maintenance category. So didn't all hit the bottom line. Lodge is right on budget. Pizza on the Hill, still struggling with margins. They need volume, and we're working on that and refining that operation. It gets a little better each month. You can see here in recreation a slight dip. This is driven by the startup cost of the bike rental operation at Marina that's being run out of the kind of next to the marina there, and revenues will pick up and hopefully offset this is the plan. It's a new operation, not budgeted. This is a great chart showing really about 24 months of favorable cover increases of the volume of headcounts going through the lodge. The one down month this year, in the last 24 months really, is this month of June we just had. Is the first time this bar has been below even the previous 2 years in a long time. Just the delay of the golf course and lack of start of summer just really impacted the lodge this month. And right now we're tracking in July to be right about here with July's bar, so the momentum is back at the lodge. Just a 1 month impact there. Some other notables: assessments receivable are 2% of our 6,472 units, and we lost 8,500 in foreclosures in June. One unit had multiple years in arrears that the home was given back to the bank, and now hopefully we'll soon have a paying owner in that property. 54% of our members, or our member units, own or have purchased the recreation fee, which is up 3% to last year at this time. Our capital fund balances are important to note and understand. Replacement reserve fund is about $66.5 million in balance. That'll come down dramatically as we spend throughout the year in accordance with budget, replacing our reserve items that have been worn out. Development fund is broken into 3 buckets. Regular, this has been pulled down due to primarily to the land purchase, the McGlashan Springs property. and building replacement is just over $4 million in balance. And our RAY funds, restricted funds for recreational amenity expansion projects, is a little over $3 million in balance. Quick update on July through the 14th. We're 30 grand ahead in revenue, or 6% favorable to budget, and slightly over in payroll. So things are looking good. We had a super 4th of July weekend with record volumes across the association. Except for golf. Don't believe we set a record at golf. We had a good 4th of July weekend at golf, but we did not set a record. Thank you for viewing this presentation. As always, all monthly finance reports and other financial information can be found at this website, as well as the annual report and the budget report. And my contact information is here as well. Thanks, and have a great day.